All right, so back here on this gray, chilly morning. We're gonna try and get this door handle done as quick as we can because I don't know if and when the rain is going to start. So a lot of times you have to peel the plastic back here if nobody's ever been into the door before, which I don't think anyone's been into this one this far at least. And then we'll just tape it back up or whatever afterwards. You got to get into this access hole over here for the door handle. Oh, there we go. Okay. And you have to take this little access plug out of here. It gives you access to one of the mounting bolts for the door handle. Probably going to need a smaller, actually maybe can I push it out from the inside? Yeah, there we go. So up in there. So there's two 10mm nuts holding the door handles in. One of them you can see right there. The other one is right there. You can't see it with my finger, but there's one above that little pivot there. And then beyond that, you just have to get the back in there. You see that little red clip? I believe that is the pull rod. Actually, I can activate it here and make sure. Yeah. So that's the pull rod to actually open the door. So you pop that little red clip that direction and it's a little pivot then, and the rod pops out of the pivot. And then, oh, I also forgot there's that little bracket there which keeps the bottom of the door handle in. So you'll have to pull that little one as well. I think it's an 8 instead of a 10. And you got to kind of fiddle it through this gap. And then after that, it's just the challenge of finessing the handle out of the door because they don't just come right out nicely, of course. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, so the door handle is loose now. You just have to get that plastic clip off of there. It holds the rod in place. It'd be nice if there was an access hole here. Of course, they didn't do that for us. Can't get a hold of it really. There we go. You just tip that rod back, or the red part back, and then you have to try and get your hand in here somehow to pull the rod out, which is pretty easy. Oh, and there is a second one. So there's two rods, one for the handle release and one for the lock mechanism. Let's see if I can show that other one here. So, see that lower one on the left side of the screen there? I think it's like a whitish color. But there's a second rod at an angle there. That rod is for the lock mechanism. So when you turn the key on the outside, that's what locks the actual latch so that it can't be opened. So you got to do that one as well, which it's actually a little easier because it's on the angle that you can put a screwdriver in to push it. And if I can get on, I usually just give it a little thump. And you can pull the rod out of that one, same as the red. Now the handle should be free. And then it's down to the tricky part of wiggling it out of the door. And I can never remember which way you have to do it because there's rods and all kinds of stuff in the way. So it's not a very good design because the barrel pivot for the lock and the rods are right in the way to be able to get the whole thing out of the door. So there we go, if you hold your mouth the right way. So that's the old handle. I do not have keys for this handle as far as I know. Can I see the nut by chance? Because if I could get that from here instead of having to rip the plastic open, that would be great. I'll set that aside for a second. I'll get a flashlight, maybe I can see in there. Well, other than having a nut rattling around in the door, which I would rather not, it's not a big deal. I don't know where that went, that's crazy. Anyway, that's it for the door handle. Now we can go take the door handle out of the other cab and hopefully not lose any of those nuts. And then we'll have enough to put it back together in this one. So we'll go do that, and then once we know the lock's good on this one, this door is ready to go back together with hopefully some new clips if we've got some that'll fit. And then onto the other side and do the whole thing again. Okay, the rain is starting, so let's try and get this frickin' door handle installed here. I'm going to put some anti-seize on all of the fasteners, even the plastic, the one going into the plastic, because then I can get it out later with no problem. Alright, let's see if that looks like it's seated. Looks pretty good to me. Should probably put some, oh, it is plastic. I should probably put some lubrication on the handle pivot while we're in here and can get to it. Try some kind of a penetrant here. It is, I believe it's plastic with metal pins. Let's move it on it, make sure that it's free. Nothing worse than a handle that sticks up while you're releasing the door. Should also be the right lock now for our key. if I connect it first, but it is the right barrel at least. Should wipe that off before I put it in the pocket. Nope. Okay. So then it's just a matter of putting the two rods that we took out before back in where they go, and we are finished. Snap the little plastic clips back over the rods. Okay. Now we should have door handle action, and we should have lock action when I use the key here now. Yep. Like a dream. Make sure the door handle works here, and that's all there is to that. Something in the way. So yeah, that's really all there is to that. That's perfect. Handle actually returns. I've had lots of them that don't, just from non-use. So that's yeah, door handle changed. We've got the right key now. The rain is persisting. So we'll see what I can do here. I might have to stop and wait a bit, but next step is to try and find new push clips for the door panel, and then the door panel can go back on, and then this door is done, ready to roll. Okay, horrible working conditions as is tradition. It's raining, don't have a shop big enough for a truck, so here we are. I'm just going to try and quickly slap this door panel back on because there's not much space on this side, and then we can do all the other sides. There's a little more room over there. We'll just do a time lapse of that because it's exactly the same as what we're doing here, or what we have done here. So I'm not too worried about this. A lot of times you can get it to, of course, because it's damp and wet and gross, it won't stick, of course. A lot of times you can get that to just stick where it was. You don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, I would sometimes use tape. I don't have any tape here, I don't think. So I'm just going to make sure it's up against as opposed to folded back behind the door panel, and that'll be good enough. I'm going to see if I have some push clips for the door panel that will work. I don't remember which ones I used on the other truck. So yeah, none of these are going to be of any use to us, I don't think. These ones you're supposed to do in 2 stages, so that's no good. What about these ones? Yeah, actually those might work, so maybe we'll try some of those. They're just like a tripod squeeze style one with the slot in, or the post on the back for the door panel. See if it'll even fit into what we got. It does. It's not big enough, but it might be worth a try. It seems to be a pretty good fit in the door holes here. I don't want to put one in because I'll never get it out, but maybe we'll try those. And they've got a little felt on them as well that stops the panel from vibrating against the door. So let's give those a try, I guess. Get all the old white ones out of the door panel here first. they just pop out of the gray slots that they got. So I guess let's try some of these white ones and we'll see if that works or not. I don't think I have enough for 2 door panels, of course. How many do we actually need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That was only 20. So, this other kit might have 20 of the same one, but with no felt on them. Those are a little different, but I think they'll work too, wherever that went now. So I'll just intersperse them. Maybe I'll do could just do every other, I guess. I'll do a foam one. Oh, there's a foam one at the top, and then a regular in the middle, and a foam one at the bottom. And I'll do another foam one here on the corner, and then I'll do 2 regulars in the middle. And a foam on the bottom and a foam in the corner. Yeah. And regular in the middle and a foam on the top. And we'll do a regular in the middle of the top as well. That should be all of the tabs we have left that aren't broken. Have clips that should go into the holes in the door, hopefully. So then it's just a matter of putting the window switches back in place, which, as I mentioned before, depending on how you took them out, is pretty easy. If you took the whole thing out like I did, and you just push it into place like that. If you took just the red or blue plug off, then same idea, and you just have to make sure that the little tabs on the side latch around the switch itself. That's those. Apparently this door switch only works for up, or for unlock rather, which is fine, I guess. Weird. Something we can address later. So then it's just a matter of you have to get the door lock button through there, and then you're just trying to get. Well, you got to get the. Don't forget the grab handle, the pull handle. If you don't get that through before you start putting pegs on, it's going to be a problem. And then you put the lock through there, and then you're ready to start. Make sure you guys can actually see. Yeah. Then you're ready to start lining up the pegs and putting them in their holes, which can be a bit of a challenge. Occasionally, like it needs to go forward. There's one. definitely not right. I really need to find a source for the proper size ones for these trucks, because it'd be nice for it to actually fit on properly and stay there. Seems to be not bad once you get them in. They take a lot more to bottom, I guess, because the other ones have fingers. These ones have to go all the way until the tripod can spring out. But that seems to be on there decently. The middle won't stay, but whatever. The other door I took apart, actually, they had somebody had put a bunch of little tiny green Robertson head screws through the panel to the door, which, other than it being a little bit hack, it's kind of smart, because these pegs are so stupid. It should be all screws, so you can do it a million times and not have to worry about it. But they don't like to do that, apparently. So then all that should be left, I think. It's all seated pretty much all the way around. Just the middle part doesn't want to stay, but it's not a big deal. The handle will help with that a bit too. So all that's left then is to put the screws back in. There's 3 screws we took out earlier. 2 of them go into the grab handle here. This should help hold the top of the door panel in as well, as I mentioned. Put both screws in most of the way before you tighten either one of them, because you might distort the plastic and risk breaking stuff, especially on the older ones. I'm going to hold the top in as well as I snug these, just to make sure that we got the best shot of it actually holding the top of the door panel in. Okay, and then there's one more that goes, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, in the top up here by the mirror. There's one last Phillips that goes in there to kind of hold the top of the door panel in place. I'm hearing lots of plastic breaking sounds, so I'm not going to go very tight. Just enough to hold it so it's not flapping and banging around. So other than the clips not being necessarily proper, that seems to be on there pretty well. Doesn't seem to be loose, which is good. The door lock switch works for up at least, and I know the window switch works. Should it work like this? Nope. Albeit not very happy. What needs to be done is the mechanism needs to be lubricated. But that's for another time. Once I get some proper push clips, I'll have no issue with taking the door panel back off when we have more time and better weather to actually clean and lubricate the window regulator properly, because it's a little slow on the way up, so we don't want it to get to the point where it stalls, especially in colder weather, and then you can't get the window up. So, but anyways, that's this door panel, or this door done. Handle's been swapped with the right handle with the right lock cylinder for the key, and mirror got swapped to a better looking one, and door panel's back on. So we're going to call this side done, and then we're going to go on to the other side and do exactly the same thing. I'll just time lapse it. No reason to show it twice. And yeah, so once we get that done, then we can get on to the bigger stuff, bigger and better stuff, the fuel tank especially. I don't know how I'm going to do that with the weather today, but fuel tank is priority so I can drive this truck properly, and also check the differential to make sure that it's got oil in it, because it's making noise. So just a little difference I forgot to mention about the driver's side. It's not exactly the same as the passenger side, because you have the power window switch. So all it is, there's one extra plug on the inside of the panel that you have to disconnect before you can take the panel off of the door. So you've got your, and it's actually a double, I guess, for the window switches, but you got your window switch, your lock switch, but then you've also got the power mirror that has to be disconnected so you can take the panel off. So don't forget about that. Alright, so doors are finally done. Mirrors have been changed on both sides and they both work. I double checked. Door handles have been changed on both sides so that we can lock and unlock the truck with the ignition key, and all the buttons work minus the lock for some reason on the passenger side, and the switch isn't working, but it's usually unlock that you want, not lock. But we can always look at that later. I do have another set of switches from the upper truck. Yeah, so I think the next order of business is the fuel tank. So because the rain is still undecided here, I think I'm just gonna swing the truck around, put it back in first, and then we can get to work on getting the tank back out of the bed again. I don't know how much fuel is left in it at this point. I've run it a few times. But we'll get it out of there, figure out if it's light enough that I can lift it up into place. And then I need to measure the return line spigot on the tank, and we'll get another length of line. I've got a length for the feed line, 3/8. I don't remember if the return is 5/16 or quarter, so we'll measure that, and then when we go out, we'll get another length of line. And then I think I'm going to remove the old lines underneath the frame and clean it up a bit. There's a lot of sand and dirt in the frame rail, as we kind of saw when we were taking the old tank off. So I'll try and scrape as much of that out of there as we can, because that's what rots frames. It'd be nice to pressure wash it, but it's just not practical right now. I guess technically I could, but I'd have to set up out on the lawn and lay down on the ground and try and pressure wash the frame, which would be kind of nice, but it's also a lot of work. So I think I'll just do a scrape to get the worst of it off, and then I'm hoping to get it undercoated before winter, but we'll see how timing goes. So anyway, let's get on to that then. Okay, so now we're gonna get the back up in the air a bit here so I can get under it a little more easily. Get the old fuel lines off the truck hopefully, and also do a little scraping on the frame inside where the tank was blocking the dirt before, to get all of that out of there so that it's not going to rot the frame as quickly. And then we can get ready for the new tank, or quote unquote new tank. If you're lifting up the back of your truck, and if it's a two-wheel drive truck, make sure you block the front wheels. The parking pin if it's automatic, or the gear if it's manual, and the parking brake are all on the rear wheels only. So if you only have a 2-wheel drive truck, there's nothing holding your truck from rolling away if you're jacking up the back. I'm not too worried about it because the front is basically in a hole right now. So I know it can't go anywhere, but if you're on any kind of a slope at all, especially asphalt or a concrete surface, it's going to roll way easier. Truck is secure, safe to go under and do whatever we need to do. I'm gonna go and try and get a creeper, I guess, to make it a little easier to get in and under there and work. And then we will try and do some stuff underneath. I don't know how or if I'll be able to film it, but we'll see what I can get set up here. Okay, I think that should be pretty decent for a clean out for right now. So now we'll get the old fuel lines out of here. We don't need them anymore. And then we can get ready to put the new tank up in here with the new line when we get it. And be good to go then, hopefully. The other side probably needs cleaned out too, but until I get the exhaust out of the way, that's going to be pretty tough. So I believe these old fuel lines are just popped into the plastic clips on the frame, so they should be able to just be popped out without taking the whole clip with it to begin. I say that kiddingly. Come on out of there. Oh, crap. Come on, let's go. There we go. Man. Right, let me get rid of that. And that one's fished around the brake line. And this one too. Okay. Now we need zip ties for the rest of it, I think. And we should be able to get all of the old fuel lines out of it. 3 of those rubber coated come on roll band clamps holding the metal lines to the frame. So I will have to get a socket for those. I believe they're probably 1/2 inch or 9/16, but they could also be metric because, you know, how things go. Okay, so we're starting to run out of time here today, so I'm going to figure out what the other size of fuel line that we need is. The feed that I've got on here, I'm pretty sure is 3/8. It says 3/8 up there, but let's see if we can get something to confirm here. That I think actually says 11/32. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, it says 11/32, but that doesn't make any sense. I'm sure it's supposed to be a 3/8 spigot. This stuff I've got up here is 3/8. So I'm thinking that's got to be what it's supposed to be. And then this other one here says what do we got? That's Volkswagen hose from something. Well, the easiest way, because that'll be metric, because that's Volkswagen. The easiest way to figure this out, I guess, is to actually take this clamp off and see what size the spigot is. But I'm thinking it's probably 1/4. But, okay, I'm gonna grab a screwdriver here and pull this off and just double check. Okay, so I did take them off and measure. The big one is, what did I figure, a little under 3/8, I think. So it could be metric. And the little one is about 5/16. So the 3/8 we've got should be good. And I will get a length of 5/16 from the store when we go into town. And then with that, we should be good to go. The gauge does kind of work. I'm going to do a little bit of work on the sending unit, cleaning it up, so that hopefully it'll read a little better. Take a Q-tip and some alcohol and clean the rheostat surface. I think that's the right term. And then we'll put it all up in the truck and see what we've got. So we'll be back when we got some line.